It's Saturday the 18th of May, back on Glemsford, unfinished business. I felt, although I had a couple of fish last time, I could have done a whole lot better. There was more fish here than I had anticipated, not just the abundance of rudd, but more tench, I think, than certainly I got close to catching. And I think I made a couple of errors of judgment. Nothing obvious, just things that could be improved upon. And one of them is I've come away from feeders because I was aware that the rudd were following the feeders to the bottom and then subsequently eating a lot of the ground bait. So I've switched to leads and just fed the ground bait. Micro pellet, 4mm krill pellet, bit of krill ground bait, a bit of bloodworm ground bait. And I put 12 big balls in, size of just a little bit bigger than a tangerine, and I've topped that up. I put another couple more in since, and I intend to just feed a couple more balls, maybe golf ball size balls, every couple of hours. I raked extensively for an hour and a half, cleared a whole ton of weed. It's there's a lot of it, but there was a lot of natural food in it, including a lot of bloodworm, hence why I put the bloodworm ground bait in. It's just basically bloodworm pellets that's been ground up into a ground bait. I've had my rods out about 3 hours now. Not had any indications, but I'm quite pleased about that. I've chosen not to feed maggots again this week. I felt last week the abundance of rudd, and there was a lot of them. They weren't all small, some of them were bigger fish. But just clearing my ground bait out and leaving me with nothing. The other thing as well that I've considered is this lake hasn't been fished other than the pike anglers properly for at least 8 years. Have these fish in here, the tench and anything else that's survived, have they forgotten what ground bait is? Have they forgotten what anglers bring to the table? Do they recognise the sound of a ball of ground bait going in and associated with food? Probably not. Are they interested in the modern day baits like the boilies and things like that, or have they forgotten that they're any good for them? So I've gone with hook baits. I've gone with sweet corn and maggots on one, and basically it's a bit of sweet corn, 2 maggots on the hair, and then another bit of natural sweet corn. I've gone with just a single trout pellet, drilled trout pellet on a smallish hook on a size 12 hook on a middle rod. And on the left hand rod I've gone with Tutti Frutti butterfly, and basically Tutti Frutti was good forever on here as a bait, and it's I cut half a popper, then put a pellet on, and then put half of the bottom bait on, and the pop up and the bottom bait are facing away from the pellet, so it looks like a butterfly. I've mentioned it before, and it's a good rig for tench, so I've gone with that. But I've got worms with me, I've got maggots with me, I've got casters with me. I'm going to see what happens. There's fish blowing, but interestingly, they're not blowing where I've raked. They're blowing further out. Now, that's understandable. All this commotion, me raking for an hour and a half, those fish are certainly not used to it. And with raking with tench, you can go one or two ways. Either it stimulates them or it switches them off. I would think in this scenario where it's not been fished for 8 years, it's probably pushed them away. It's like a gully that runs right to left, but it's very distinctive and it's very consistent. And either side of it, higher up, it's a little bit siltier. I've gone with 1.5 ounce leads, and they're sticking in that silt. But in the gully, they're not sticking, and it's like as if it's harder. And I don't know whether that's got channeled out by fish, whether it got channeled out by the otters, which is a possibility. I always remember there being variations on the bottom in this particular swim. And incidentally, I'm back in the swim I fished 4 or 5 weeks ago, and the first swim I fished last week. A bit uncomfortable, that end swim. There's fish there. I mean, I had 2, but you're sort of perched up on high ground and looking straight down onto the water, and not enough room for my bivvy. Anyway, I've got my rods out. I'm going to have a cup of coffee, and I'll get back to you as and when I catch anything, if I do. Brought a waggler rod with me. Had a few sort of 2-3 ounce rudd on a maggot, and I'll just switch to sweet corn. Let's see what happens. Seen a couple of better fish splashing about, so they're on it straight away as soon as it's out there. Just going to feed a few maggots. Oh, there you go. Nice, fat, great condition. I mean, these fish, because it hasn't been fished for so many years, probably grown up never seen a hook before. And certainly, I doubt they know what sweet corn is. Oh, nearly. It's going to go there. These are good fun, these fish. I've had them bigger than that, but still lovely fish, lovely colours, lovely condition. Stick a maggot on and they're so much smaller. But no wonder they ate all my ground bait last week. That's all I can say. This is why I've put more out. I might actually bait up another 3 or 4 balls just as it's getting dark, because I suspect the rudd won't feed in the dark. Well, they're not known to. So see what happens. Looking for a slightly bigger bit of sweet corn. See if I can nick a better fish. I did have one about 12 ounces a little while ago. It's a daisy. Walk around the top. I'm about 2 foot off the bottom, which is what you'd expect with rudd. Interestingly, I had a perch as well a little while. Oh, it's a daisy. What's that? A little while ago. I mean, there's a lot of perch in here. I remember there used to be a few bigger ones, but certainly not many. But ironically, I didn't catch it on the maggot. Caught it on the sweet corn. I've got some worms with me. I might actually, at some point tomorrow, between waiting for the tench, I might actually have a go on the worms, see if I can nick a decent perch or two. I mean, it's just moving non-stop from the minute you cast it out. I think one of my dropper shots might have come off. That's all right though. Don't make any odds. Oh. So much for a bigger bit of sweet corn, smaller rudd. Just coming to the end, just packing away after 2 nights. Very, very interesting, and certainly would be interesting to those who like to fish for the rudd. I had a couple of goes, about 3 hours each time on a waggler with maggot and sweet corn on the hook, fishing up off the bottom, fishing about 4 foot deep. Both times I had in excess of £15 of rudd in a couple of 3 hours. Once was in the morning, yesterday morning, once was in the evening the day before, and they're just there in numbers, as you saw probably from the little clip I showed. It's like a fisher cast. So you want to catch a lot of rudd. A lot of them are around the 4 to 6 ounce range, but I had a few around 8 ounces and a couple around 12 ounces, which was nice. Only managed one tench. Very frustrating. At one point yesterday morning, I had 5 different tench blowing simultaneously over my bait in my swim, weren't even getting any indication. And then last night, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I managed to fish about £4. I also missed a unmissable bite. Slammed to the top. By the time I was out of my bed and at my rod, it was dropping back, and it obviously got hold of the bait good and proper, because it really walloped up to the top. I mean, I heard the indicator hit the rod as it went up. It was that quick. I mean, it could have been a line bite, I don't know. But I hope you've enjoyed this little session, and please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, ask any questions about bait, about rigs, about what I put out as far as bait's concerned. Going to come with another approach next time I come, change it slightly. Might feed a lot less ground bait, and just feed pellet and only a couple of handfuls and a lot of hemp. I want to attract the tench, but I don't want to overfeed them. There's not as many fish in here as there used to be, but there's still enough fish to target them. So I'm gonna have a rethink in the week, and might actually make some my own boilies up. I've got a mix that I used to make up before for here that always used to catch me a few fish. So I'm going to get in the kitchen and yeah, make some boilies, probably annoy my wife in the process. But yeah, so I'll get back to you as and when. Cheers, guys. Thanks.